Now, a couple of things come to mind from what you're saying. One is that we're still fighting the slightly different concepts of destiny and goal. Because if destinies aren't goal, my destiny is to become king, that's completely independent of whether I want to become king. Completely. Right. 1,000%. And it's still a what if. But what we're saying is by calling it a destiny, the issue is on the table. Right? The possibility is on the table. If not now, sooner rather than later. And if we're doing something completely different from all that stuff, we'll find a way for, some strand of this to bump into that, or to go that way. And that's fine. Then we have paths which I maintain may be very well handled, just like concessions, as highly situational. That these are things which are a way to act or something to happen. Because playing them the way you said, which is as a choice of, are you going to do the path thing or the concession thing, or just playing them for straight up, you decide as the Doomsmith, it's time for this concession to just come in and strike, or it's the player looking at one out of the blue says, and now I behave terribly cowardly. Not because of some agreement that they made a few minutes ago, but just because it's on the sheet and he likes being a coward, so he's going to do it, come what may. Right? So paths and concessions are highly situational and highly choice-based. How am I going to play my character this time? What do I want my character to do this time? What do I want to have happen to my character this time? And that's just a completely different thing from Destiny. Just completely. I mean, 1,000%. And they shouldn't be tied at all. Right? I mean, that when I write a path, I don't give a shit whether this has something to do with my Destiny or not. I might write something that's kind of relevant. Like the Destiny is, everyone says that I should be king one day, or something like that. And the path says something you want, something you strive towards, something that you. But you know what I don't think paths and concessions should be? Task-based. I will rescue the king. Right?
You say you don't think it...
No, it's more because they've got. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, in the sense that I can see in your phrasing how they would fit, but I'm also talking about them as. I'm really trying to get away from the idea that a path or a concession is an outcome. Destiny is stated as an outcome. Paths and concessions stated as outcomes are toxic.
That's exactly.
Does that work?
This is one of the. Here's one of the biggest things of the game we've talked about is over and over and over again that the books are never outcomes, and this is something I've been talking about with my friends, how they should be written, because it's like, oh well, if it says it happens, then it happens. Right? No, it needs to be a choice. So, maybe you're onto something. Maybe instead of saying, I will save the king, maybe it needs to be something like the king is in trouble.
I would put it slightly differently. I swear the king shall be saved.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I swear the king shall be saved. I will never let my son die. A concession. That demon hates my guts. See the difference between that and a demon attacks? I'm a coward is great. I hate thieves, their deaths bring honor. That's great. I I sleep through an important event. Not so great. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if destiny is the thing to which we can always connect whatever's happening insofar as it's not errantly stupid, right? I mean, the character could just go off to the fire swamp and not find a clue for saving the king for once, right? Let's give ourselves a little break on that one. But a lot of the time, things can come back to destiny. At the very least, if we stray away from your destiny for a while, it can be treated as a nice detour and we can get back onto it later, right? So destiny is somewhere where we can return. Until such a time as we say that question has been solved. The day I walk away from the throne and say, it's y'all's problem, I'm done, is the day that I don't have to have that destiny anymore. But until such a time, we can always come back to destiny. And that's very much a non-choice. Your choice is whether you're going to pursue that destiny or deal with that destiny ever again at all, right? Never mind pursue, whether it's part of your sheet or not. But in terms of use, when that's on your sheet, I, the player, am letting the Doomsmith knows we're going to come back to that when we get back to it. That's destiny. Whereas paths and concessions are claims, descriptions, beliefs, things that could happen, that I could run into, but they're not situations I'm in right now. And they're not outcomes of events, outcomes of a choice. With that in mind, everything becomes so much clearer to me when I write paths and concessions. Notice, too, that there's not a word about anything in there about whether the character wants it or not, likes it or not, even tries to do it or not, right, in a deliberate way. Screw all that. That's just not in there. We don't have to keep repeating that it's not in there. It's just not for any of them. And none of them are goals unless they are stated as goals. I swear I will. So they might or might not be goals depending on how they're stated. And that's fine. It doesn't matter if they are or not. A destiny isn't. I'm talking about paths and concessions. So a destiny can't be a goal. A destiny is, what they say about me and what the world seems to say about me. Maybe it's even just a dream or a notion or something, but it's whatever it is.
Well, is it something that you see, or of course, played, but are destinies even needed in that case?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm staying with the fact that I'm staying with your statement that they are. How it felt good or better when things sprawled a lot to at least have the Doomsmith have something in their head to bring each character back to. Now, if you value that, then keep them. If you, on reflection, say, wait a minute, we do it anyway.
Yeah.
Then,
I guess
I can't tell you. That's up to you.
Some players are better at it than others. The guy who had the revenge story, everything he did, all of his books, it was revenge in some way or another. It was going toward that. It didn't matter what else happened. And he was off on his own a lot. The other characters were like, hey, will you come with me and let's do this? Cool. Let's write books about this harbor town because we're going to go there. Guy's like, I'm going to kill my wife as soon as I find her. And so, his scenes are by himself a lot. He's like go trudging through the countryside and stuff. So maybe it's just a matter of letting the books just write the books. And if you have an idea for your story, then you write about that. And you don't need a destiny to pull you back.
That is more my thinking. My thinking goes in that direction. And I think that it's a fairly strong point because you also have things like Tragic Figure, which is not even in a book. It's a completely different rule. And that's something I'd like you to consider, whether you want outcomes to be in that part of the game either. I will suggest, as food for thought, that the fellow playing the vengeance guy kind of already had his story written. Now, you were able to change it up by bringing in the kids so that there was some more dynamism to the situation. But the question is, how much of that kind of pre-writing do you want? And that's up to you. I won't go anywhere with that. That's just a good question. But I think that you could get diversity, good playable diversity among the characters in terms of how driven they are and how single-minded they are, just by having them, keep writing their books. And if they're composed only of paths and concessions, which are things they claim about themselves, things they say they want, situations that might confront them, and be completely open-ended in terms of how they turn out, not a shred of phrasing about, and then this happens because of it. This happened and I do this. Right. Just get rid of that aspect of it. Notice the slight change I made for demon attacks. This demon hates my guts. That doesn't mean it says a word about what the demon actually does it?
Right.
So you see, I'm completely leaving out that description of activity.